Have you ever felt like therapy is this big, complicated, maybe even intimidating world? Well, what if I told you that you could start to understand it just by using stories you already know and love? Today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to demystify the science of therapy using some of Hollywood's most unforgettable scenes.
Okay, let's just dive right in. We're going to kick things off with a question about a movie that I'm guessing a lot of you have seen. I want you to think about that brilliant but really guarded character Will and his therapist Sean. Because their story, it holds the key to the single most important thing in any successful therapy.
So, what is that key lesson from Will and Sean's story? Here's a hint. It's not some fancy technique or psychological trick. No, it's all about the foundation, the absolute essential ingredients that have to be there for any kind of therapy to actually work.
And it all starts right here with something called the therapeutic alliance. You remember how Will just chews up and spits out one therapist after another? Nothing works. It's only when Sean stops trying to do therapy and instead just focuses on building a real, genuine, trusting connection that the walls start to come down. You see, that relationship is the therapy, long before any of the work even begins. Honestly, you can boil it all down to this one simple, powerful rule. If you don't have that foundation of trust and collaboration, you can have the most brilliant techniques in the world, and they just won't matter. It is the absolute bedrock of the whole process, period.
Okay, so once you have that trust, what's next? Is therapy just a really good chat? Well, not exactly. It's actually a lot more like medicine. I mean, think about it. If you get pneumonia, you expect your doctor to give you an antibiotic that has been scientifically proven to work, right? Psychotherapy, believe it or not, works on a very similar principle.
And this gets to the heart of what we call evidence-based practice. It means that good therapy isn't just guesswork or a shot in the dark. It's a careful blend of three things: therapeutic methods that are backed by solid scientific research, the therapist's own clinical expertise, and, this is just as important, what fits best for the client's unique needs and preferences. It's a real applied science. Which brings us to another crucial ingredient: the client's own world. You remember the movie Inside Out, right? Everybody in Riley's head is trying to fix her by getting rid of sadness. But the breakthrough, the moment she really starts to heal, is when sadness is finally allowed to be heard and accepted. That is the core of a client-centered approach. It's all about empathy and understanding, without judgment. This highlights such a critical idea. We're often in such a rush to fix a problem, to make a bad feeling go away. But real, lasting change can only happen after that feeling or that experience is truly understood and accepted. The healing starts with acceptance, not with fighting it. And, you can't really understand a person if you don't understand their world. Think about a film like Minari. We see this family's entire experience, their stress, their hopes, their struggles, is completely shaped by their cultural background. A good therapist has to be able to see, understand, and respect that context. The big takeaway here is that the same issue, let's say anxiety, can mean totally different things to people from different walks of life. How it feels, how you show it, how you cope with it, all of that is tied to your unique life experience. There's just no such thing as one-size-fits-all in therapy. All right, so we've got our foundation in place: a trusting relationship, science-backed methods, a client-centered heart, and cultural awareness. Now let's build on top of that. We're going to take a quick tour of a few different types of therapy. The best way to think about these is like different tools in a toolbox, right? Each one is designed for a different kind of job. First up is one of the most famous ones: cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. And the perfect way to think about this is the Matrix. Yeah, seriously. Remember that mind-bending moment Neo takes the red pill and suddenly realizes that what he thought was reality was just a program? CBT does something kind of similar, but with our own thoughts. It's a really practical, hands-on kind of therapy. So the first step is just to catch those automatic negative thoughts that just pop into your head, like, I am a failure. Then you learn to step back and be a detective. You look at the cold, hard evidence. Is that thought really 100% true? Almost never. And the final step is to swap out that distorted thought for one that's a lot more balanced and realistic. The whole idea behind CBT is that our thoughts, our feelings, and our behaviors are all linked up. So if you can successfully challenge and change those unhelpful patterns of thinking, you will, in a very real way, change how you feel and what you do. Now, let's switch gears and look at a totally different tool:
For this one, I want you to think of the movie Black Swan. Nina's intense, overwhelming anxiety. It's not just about the stress of her ballet performance, right? It's way deeper. It's rooted in her past, in her relationship with her mother, and all these unconscious conflicts just boiling under the surface. This is the world of psychodynamic therapy.
So unlike the here and now focus of CBT, this approach takes a dive into our personal history. It's about exploring how our earliest relationships and experiences created certain patterns. The goal is to bring those unconscious feelings to the surface and, this is the key, to finally understand how those old dynamics are still playing out and shaping our lives today. This really gets to the core philosophy. The idea is that the past isn't really past. It's alive, right here with us in the present. And the symptoms we're feeling today? They're often just echoes of older, unresolved wounds. Understanding where they came from is the first step to healing them.
Okay, so up until now, we've kind of been picturing therapy as something that happens with two people in a room. But some of the most powerful work can happen when we open that door and expand the circle. It's definitely not always a solo journey.
Let's take an example we all know, the show Modern Family. Whenever there's a problem, it almost never just belongs to one person, does it? It's always tangled up in the way they communicate or don't communicate, and the roles everyone plays. That's exactly how family therapy looks at it. The client isn't just one person, it's the whole family system. And this is a really radical shift in thinking. Instead of trying to find a problem inside of a person, this approach says the problem exists in the space between people, in their interactions and relationships. So if you change the dance, you help everyone in the family. And what about sharing our stuff with a group of strangers? I mean, think about the raw, unfiltered honesty of those support groups in Fight Club. There is this incredible, almost magical power that comes from the moment you realize you are not the only person on the planet feeling this way. That shared experience is the engine of group therapy. And it all comes down to this simple, profound truth. A huge part of our suffering is often the feeling that we're completely alone in it. So to hear your own fears spoken by someone else and to offer them your support in return, that creates a bond, a connection. And that connection is deeply, deeply healing. So let's step back and tie all these different threads together. We've seen that good therapy isn't some big mystery. It's a process, right? It's built on a solid foundation of trust and human connection, it's guided by science and empathy, and it's tailored with different tools for different jobs. We've spent this time using stories from movies to understand how therapy works. But in the end, therapy is really about one thing: learning how to become the author of our own story. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. What's the one story that shapes your life? And is it a story you want to keep telling?